So, before we start today, I wanted to talk about the fact that I have been itching to cover this individual / group for ages, because it's just so damned funny. But I have been concerned that they are like an actual legit joke group that do not believe what they are saying at all. You know, classic Poe territory. And while I'm not above covering the maybe they are, maybe they aren't type Poes, this particular set never sat right. I mean, no one could be this dumb, yeah? Oh, what a fool I was. I've actually found interviews and clear statements from them saying otherwise. And you know what? Fine. I am convinced. You are this ridiculous. Well done. Let's find out why.
Hello. So I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about fossils that are found in the ground.
Okay, well, I want to talk about how offended I am by your video. Portrait, some kind of jet engine, and unbalanced audio. I mean, one of those is somewhat acceptable. I've made the same kind of mistakes in my past, but if I didn't know any better, I would think you are trying to look as incompetent as possible. I'll just make this a little less obnoxious to watch / listen to. Right, let's try again.
Hello. So I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about fossils that are found in the ground.
And my immediate thought upon hearing that is, as opposed to found where exactly? The sky? That'd be pretty bloody inconvenient, because either they're stuck up there and thus very difficult to get at, or we're just going to be pelted with chunks of various ancient creatures at random intervals when they finally decide to head down to reveal themselves. All in all, the ground version just sounds better.
And I guess I'll start a little bit about what the fossils actually are.
Forgive me if I am wrong, but I suspect we aren't going to be going to what they actually are, and more going into what you think they are from your literally zero knowledge and or understanding on the topic. I mean, come on now, you're part of a group called Christians Against Dinosaurs. I hate to tell you, but dinosaurs just aren't a threat anymore. You don't need to be against them. That's what the name means, right? Yeah? Anyway. It is a damn shame that they aren't around anymore. Imagine the time you would save getting to work on the back of a T-Rex. You could take all the pedestrian shortcuts and bonus, have it eat anyone who's rude to you on the way. I genuinely see no downsides.
And then go into a little bit about the composition and what they end up being when everything is said and done.
End up being? They end up being fossils. Why on earth would they end up being anything other than fossils? Or do you mean their uses after the fact? I guess Fido would love a big old dino bone to gnaw on. And yes, I know fossils are no longer bone, but he doesn't know that. Stupid dog, he barely passed paleontology. Ended up completely changing his degree into advanced mathematics instead. Dumbass.
So a fossil is not actually a piece of bone.
Right, yes, we know it's not actually bone. Bone simply wouldn't last that long outside of anything short of a vacuum, and even then I got to imagine it would, well, crumble to dust. But anyway, I really enjoyed those air quotes. It's always something I like about people who have silly ideas about what a thing is. They'll often air quotes around something which doesn't have another thing that it could really be. Like when someone doesn't believe in time. Okay, fine. And I know that saying you don't think time is real does make you feel like a big brainer. But then what is the thing that clocks measure? And why is being able to measure it generally so useful? And it not existing seems like an extremely poor answer to that question, doesn't it?
A fossil is actually a bone that was once in the ground that has been then filled with limestone, calcium, and other kind of stone-like deposits.
Well, actually fossils can be many things formed in many ways. The idea that a fossil is just a bone, well, it's the kind of thing that one might say if they only knew about fossils from children's books. And when I say children, I mean ickle-wickle babies that can barely talk. Because even young children are taught about the various ways fossils can form and the various things that they can be. Now, that's not to say you're technically wrong, but that it's like you're trying to discuss culinary arts but have only ever eaten bread. Bread's cool, one of the main things. But Jesus Christ, there is way more to food than that. There's also pizza. Can't think of anything else, really, if I'm honest. That's probably why I'm fat.
Over the course of many, many years, and at the end of the day, it ends up looking like a bone, but it's not really a bone.
Again, bones aren't the only type of fossils. You can have fossils of bone, of course, but also skin, wood, or simple impressions of the creature, or even things like nests, and of course everyone's favourite, poop. Who wouldn't want a fossilised hunk of crap? It'd take ages to eat. Not that I use rockified dinosaur turds as a never-ending gobstopper or anything like that. That'd be weird, right? Anyway, fossils basically just means evidence of the remains of various creatures, and we've got a lot of them.
It's really a rock inside of rock.
So a rock inside of a rock, like some sort of super rock. I think you'll already find we have a name for that. It's metal. Funny story about heavy metal. You know why they call it metal? It's because if you listen to it, you're going to prison because you're a degenerate and must be locked away behind iron bars from the rest of society. Some say it's because metal is heavier than rock, but those people are liars just trying to get you sent to hell, where all the good music is. And more importantly, I am, and I like having the place to myself. The bastards are always trying to make me socialise.
So you have a rock this big. And you say, okay, inside this rock this big, there's a bunch of fossils. Here you go.
Okay, so how do we know that there are fossils in said rock? My guess would be, at least in this day and age, some sort of scan. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but we can actually look inside things now. I know, hasn't technology come so far? Since before the frigging 1900s.
And you hand the rock off to a paleontologist, and the paleontologist takes a little mallet and they chip away at it, and at some point they come out with something looking like a bone.
I hope to Christ that you don't mean that they just take a rock, shape it into a bone-like shape and go, ta-da! Because there's like way more to it than that. I mean, you can have two separate people make, as you seem to believe it, the same kind of bone from the same kind of animal, and they will be very similar, if not identical, with zero instruction, because that's just not how it works. In fact, that's just not how anything in science works, because it's all about building up lots of different examples and samples of whatever evidence it is you are collecting. We know things are accurate based on an overwhelming preponderance of evidence, and when some guy makes something up, which does happen from time to time, it is rather quickly refuted because no one else can replicate those results.
And that's a fossil.
Right, yeah, that's a fossil, or again, wood, skin, ba-da-da-da-da-da, at least depending on how the fossil was formed. I mean, if it's amber, you'll have insects or pollens and the like. If it's ice or ash, you can end up with more substantial, well-preserved stuff, even with flesh still on it. What I'm trying to say is, if you still haven't figured this out, because, you know, I know you're slow, fossils aren't just bones. I'm curious exactly where you're going with this, hopefully not something extremely stupid, to the point where I'm going to have to hit my hand with a hammer just to feel something other than disgust for humanity.
So, here's the question that I pose.
Is it, how did you get out of your house today because you do not know how to doors? AKA, you don't know how they work. So how on earth did you manage to clear the at least 2 doors inside your own home and at minimum a 3rd to enter this building? You're right, that just does not make any sense. We should investigate, and by we, I mean anyone else but me. That sounds like a huge hassle.
Now, the first fossil that was ever found.
Oh, I know. It was a penis bone, wasn't it? What do you mean penises don't have a bone? Yeah, they do. Why do you think they call it a boner? Anyway, I know for a fact that they have bones in. There are always loads of them coming out when I pee. That and all the blood.
It was actually after they came up with the idea of a dinosaur.
Well, that nails it. I mean, let's for a moment assume that your little story is true. How could they possibly know about dinosaurs before they understood what a fossil was? It couldn't possibly be that A, they found dinosaur bones and the like and didn't really understand that they weren't like other bones, even though they resembled them, and even if they did notice something was a bit different, perhaps they thought that these beasts were composed of different stuff. Or B, that people had uncovered bones in the past and passed down stories of the creatures that those bones seemed to be. Or I guess C, dinosaurs done be'd made it up because me am smart.
Right, that seems a little bit far-fetched, right?
Yeah, you know what? You are right. Making up dinosaurs would be frigging stupid. Thanks for pointing that out. You're a star.
Why would the bone that was found or the fossil that was found actually be the exact same thing as what was originally hypothesized?
So, yeah, no, they absolutely found fossils literally thousands of years before they understood what they were. I believe she's probably confusing the establishment of paleontology with the discovery of any fossils ever. Fossils had been found. Fossils had been studied. They just wouldn't have been called that. But we have had ideas of what was going on, at least to some small degree, since at least the Greeks, and that's just recorded history. So one assumes that they have been seen kicking about basically forever, and are likely the origins of ideas like dragons, etc.
Without any other evidence.
Excuse me, but evidence is our word. You don't get to use it till you understand what it means. So basically, you don't get to use it ever, Soulsboss.
It doesn't make any sense. So, now I give to you. Here, you're my paleontologist.
Wow, you guys really just don't bother with qualifications, do you? Can I also be a rocket scientist? Maybe a brain surgeon too. Then I could talk down to literally everyone. That's nice, but it's hardly rocket surgery, is it?
Turn that into what it was before I ripped it apart.
Wow, that was quite the epic mic drop moment, wasn't it? Apart from the fact that despite your decree, I'm not actually a paleontologist, and also, I am pretty sure that's plaster of Paris or something like that, and I don't know about you, mate, but I'm pretty sure reconstructing smashed up models isn't actually in the job description, mate. Pretty sure it's got something to do with dinosaurs, actually. All we have really managed to achieve here is you have smashed up what I presume was a bit of tacky merchandise from a museum gift shop. You can tell she thinks she's won here, but the rest of us aren't down $25, are we?
Here. You can have some spackle too. As much spackle as you want. Here, turn this into what it's supposed to be.
Right, dude, I understand the point that you think you're making, but the difference between this powdery substance that your thing was made out of and your average fossil of a broken skull, although I imagine the skull was fossilized first and then smashed, but, well, the difference is, while that cheap crap will be difficult if not possible to suss back together, the fragments from an actual fossil will have clues to their composition, maybe grains going through the bones, and the simple fact, with enough of them, they will fit together to form the thing that they are. A bit like a jigsaw puzzle. You know, those things that you think have a maximum of 9 pieces? Hell, I bet you can't even finish this one. Hint, it's someone handsome, famous, and good at the sex.
Alright. Who knows what you're gonna come up with, right? Now, here, take this same substance, this same spackle, and, by the way, it's supposed to be this little guy, Brachiosaurus, who's 40 meters tall.
Oh god. That's literally the opposite of how this works. That's literally the opposite of how anything works. Nobody decides what a fossil is and then builds something that looks like it. Like, seriously, how would that even work? Jesus, you must be really bad at jigsaw puzzles. I mean, look how you finished. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Good job.
This is what he looks like. This is what the head was supposed to look like. This is a Brachiosaurus skull.
No, that is a big pile of you not getting your money back. Did you think that was a real skull? This whole thing, your pride at having smashed up what I can only assume is basically your own property, has the air of a child smearing poop in their own bedroom wall and smiling at the chaos that they had wrought. Except you're actually an adult and now you have to sleep in that room. Or clean it up at least, for God's sake.
Make me a Brachiosaurus skull. That and as much stack of things. Chances are, what are you going to come up with?
A similar looking pile of crap, because it's not actually a fossil, so would be extremely difficult to put back together. Did you think they actually sold you an actual fossil? Because they almost certainly wouldn't have. Good job too, because you bashed the poor thing to pieces. You're cruel.
If you want to keep your job, you come up with a Brachiosaurus skull.
Oh no, that's not how that works. Oh my God. You talk about evidence. Where is your evidence that someone has been fired for not making the fossil they were supposed to? Unless someone was just completely incompetent. Well, I don't think they would have made it that far anyway. Someone reconstructed a skull from fragments would reconstruct it to whatever the animal was. No one tells them to make anything specific. It just... no.
If you want to be truthful, you come up with whatever it was that I smashed apart to get this stuff. When millions of dollars are on the line, which one are you going to
do? Millions of dollars. You think any scientist outside of a very few specific industries, ones based mostly on making new technology, make anywhere near millions of dollars? God damn. Must get those shield bucks from Big Dinosaur. You're funny, you.
My guess is you're going to go with the Brachiosaurus. That's where the money is.
Or, you know, not be a paleontologist if you want money. I think you'll find that paleontologists become paleontologists because dinosaurs are cool and pretty much no other reason. I mean, I'm sure there are definitely other reasons, but the only good reason is because dinosaurs are cool. Definitely not money, though.
So, I hope this was insightful for what happens on a daily basis in the world of paleontology. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next time.
Random women smash up stuff they bought because they have zero understanding of what a fossil is. Well, sign me the hell up! Why, hello there, you terrible people. The best kind of people. It's me, Sir Sick. Could you not tell? I just wanted to remind you all to subscribe, push the bell icon, and to check out my various social media things for other equally pointless content. And more importantly, to make sure that you know when a video comes out. Recently, it seems YouTube doesn't want you to know because I am so handsome, famous, and good at the sex, and they are jealous, obviously. It really helps me out if you do, and apparently if you are notification belled up, they have reset it or something, so check them settings to make sure you're getting what you're supposed to. Hopefully we can get my numbers back up, because my self-worth is directly related to how many internet people show up on my videos. I'm sure that's completely healthy, right? Also, don't forget to panic buy Sick Brand merch, and don't forget to panic crowd support the channel. Thanks very much.